FUNCLE's Customs, where I find all kinds of cars in different places. I usually fix them and flip them, but sometimes I keep them. This is My Garage Revivals.
Over the weekend, I received the interior for Harry's 3rd Gen Pontiac Firebird. Hello everybody and welcome back to My Garage Revivals. So yes, we have got a brand new week ahead of us and there's a couple of things that we are going to be getting into this week. So first of all, this is a project which is what I'm going to be calling a side project. So a friend of mine reached out, his name is ScotiaPlays. He's also got a YouTube channel. You guys can go ahead and check him out. But yes, he has ordered a ramp truck from me and I need to try and build one for him. So I managed to pick this one up for quite a steal actually. It cost me only $15,000 of my own money. So we are going to be restoring this thing for him, trying to get it up and running because he's going to be opening up a shop, or actually has a shop already. He just needs a decent ramp truck to transport his vehicles with. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to get this thing in a condition where it's going to be useful to him and also help him out quite a bit. So yeah, that is one of the new projects that we are going to be tackling pretty soon. So we might get started on this today. I'm not too sure. It all depends on how far we get with our own things because we've got a couple of things happening in the shop of our own. So if you guys remember on Friday last week, I told you about an engine that Cyclone was going to send to us as part of a payment for the Lada Wagon. So yes, we've got a $10,000 cash and this engine, which I have already fitted in to the 2nd Gen Firebird over the weekend. So this is actually a twin turbo supercharged engine, which is pretty weird that it's got a supercharger and a turbo and twin turbochargers on it. So yeah, this thing makes quite a bit of power and I did have to buy a new hood for it in order for it to fit. So that is the idea for this car. We are going to make this thing a super fast, yeah, like a cruiser. I'm not sure exactly yet what we're going to do with the look of this thing, but we're going to be restoring this car and hopefully making some money on it because this is our flip vehicle. As you guys may know, we are going to be selling this one once we are done with it. So there are a couple of parts in the trunk as well that I did find, but we'll see what this car needs once we start getting into it. So this is going to be the second part of this week's project. So yeah, first of all, we're going to be getting our Bel Air over here up and running. So as you can see, we've got our windscreen fitted and I've also got the headlight fitted that we were missing on Friday still. So my goal for today is to get this thing up and running so that we can drive this over to the paint shop and get this thing painted up. So we are currently running a poll in our Discord for a color choice on this car. So go and check that out. If you haven't joined our Discord server yet, there's a link in the description and also a link at the end of this video. So definitely go and cast your votes if you would like to be part of this color combination selection of the car. But yes, as you can see on the table, I've got all the stuff we need to get this thing up and running. And you'll also be pleased to know that we have received the interior for Harry's car, which is sitting over here in the little delivery area. And then we've also got this brand new engine from Hugo, which he has built for us as part of the deal for this 57 Bel Air that he gave us. So I'm going to be mounting this engine. This is a small block 273 cubic inch V8. Nothing major. It's just a little bit tuned on the internals and I've got some performance parts on it, as you can see. So that is going to be a quick fit, hopefully, and everything is going to fit nicely. And this should mate to our 4-speed automatic transmission quite well. So it's going to be a nice cruiser and it's not going to be overpowered, hopefully, because we don't need a daily driver that's going to have a lot of power. We just need something reliable, if I can put it like that. Alright, so we're just going to make sure we bolt up all of these bolts in the engine bay. Here we go. Alright, so next up we're going to mount our battery cable or battery cables. Gonna get this put it into the car and I'm going to bolt it down. Let's see, we've got a ground cable back here, and we've got a cable on the alternator, and there should be one on the starter as well, right over there. And then we can also get our fuel line installed. This will go probably easier on this side, right over there. Alright, let's be sure to get that bolt tightened down. That's perfect. Alright, next up I'm going to put in a battery, and then we putting in the radiator. And then we just need to top up all of the fluids. So we've got to do basically all of the fluids, even the brake fluid, or the brake fluid reservoir is still empty, but I needed to tighten that down as well, because I think I also forgot that in the last episode, but yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to it. So I'm just going to double check all of these brake hoses if they are snug, and then I'm going to fill up all the fluids, and then we'll see if this thing wants to fire up. Alright, and I'm just topping up the last bit of oil. So this is the final bottle that's going into this engine. And then I believe we should be able to start this thing, and hopefully it will start, because yeah, I haven't checked anything at all on the engine. So let's just make sure our oil is topped off. So that is perfect, and the radiator coolant is topped off. And I also just need to get rid of these 3 bottles, so we'll just come over here and dump them into the trash bin. Alright, so now it's going to be the moment of truth to see if this thing is going to fire up. Because then, if it does, we can take this thing straight over to the paint shop, Richard's Auto Body. Alright, so I've tried firing this thing up, and I believe we might not have any gas in the tank, but I could have sworn I did put a little bit of gas in it, so I'm going to have to grab the jerry can and go and get some fuel. So yeah, the only running vehicle we do currently have is our ramp truck over here. So we're gonna have to take this for a drive over to the gas station quick and go and fetch some gas. And I might as well actually top this thing up with some diesel as well while we are there. So let's jump in and go and sort this out quickly. Alright, so we are back and we've got some gasoline. So this is going to be hopefully the thing that we need for our car to start up over here. So let's rip off this fuel cap and see if we can put some gas into this thing, and then hopefully it'll fire up. Alright, so there we go. We've got a little bit of gas in the tank. So let's see what it does now. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And there we go. The magic of having gasoline in your car. Alright, so I've arranged with Richard already, so we can take this thing over there and then we'll come back with our shop truck, because the shop truck has already been painted. Just didn't want to go and pick it up without, you know, by walking over there, so we'll rather drive our Bel Air over there for its paint job. And look at those nice side pipes on this engine. They actually work out very nice with this car. So this thing is going to become a very nice little cruiser once we are done with it. Alright, so let's head over there and go and pick up our shop truck and drop this car off for its paint job. Alright, so far it's so good. I mean, it runs and it drives. It's got quite a little bit of power in that little engine. I'm actually surprised that it pulls as hard as it does. But yeah, hopefully when the next time we see this thing, it's going to look a little bit different. And also, yeah, hopefully it's going to be something to be proud of. So we can have a quick look around here quickly. So this is Harry's car. They are busy with the bodywork on this. So it has been primed, and I see that to take the wheels off. So they must be getting ready to lay down the final base over this thing. So I guess we'll see what it turns out like when they are done. It's always hard to tell, you know, the actual result of a vehicle once it's in the process. So we'll see what it comes out like and see if it's going to look nice. So yeah, let's turn our focus to our shop truck over here, which they have painted for me. So yeah, I decided to just go with the original blue that this truck was originally. So obviously the cab was off the truck we built for Laco, which was a green color. And we also had the front fenders and the hood that was of a third donor vehicle. So yeah, there was a lot of donor vehicles involved in getting this thing up and running. Except for this left quarter panel, which I replaced with a brand new part, which has got that little small compartment I just showed you. So yeah, we're going to jump in, we're going to take this back to the shop, and then we're going to continue work on our 1975 Pontiac Firebird. Alright, well, there she is, looking a lot better, and I've decided to just stick with these wheels because we had them laying around the shop anyway. So I know the original idea was going to take the wheels that were supposed to go on Cyclone's car, but I just decided that we would rather save a bit of money and just use what we have. And yeah, we already had these laying around, as well as the engine and the transmission, so everything we have here is basically leftover parts of whatever we could scavenge around the garage. So yeah, now we are going to start working on this beautiful machine. So it's not so beautiful at the moment, but I plan to make it so. Right, so what I would like to do is dig into the suspension, see what we are working with. There's a couple of things that still looks pretty decent under here, but I just want to give it a thorough look through and see what we need to do. So we're going to start by stripping our front wheel off over here, and we'll do one corner at a time and just take it from there. So obviously we've got a bad brake disc on this corner. Let me think about this. Maybe I should just take off the caliper and then we'll take off the brake disc. We'll inspect everything as we take it off. Obviously we'll see if there's any bad brake pads in this disc or in this caliper. So let's see. Well, the pads don't look too bad, so looks like we're just doing brake discs, or at least a brake disc on this corner so far. Alright, so let's grab our toolbox over here. We'll just unbolt or unscrew this brake rotor or brake disc. So yeah, that is looking a little bit thin, but yeah, I'm not going to complain. That's basically the only part we really need to replace, unless if we have one, which we actually do. We've got this one on the shelf. Doesn't look too bad, so let's go ahead and slap this one on while we are at it, and then we can call this corner sorted out. So I'm still thinking about wheels and tires we're going to be putting on this thing eventually. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of things to consider still, because still got to get some tires for the Bel Air. We've still got to get another rim for the Bel Air, because that idea is something that I've already got for wheels and tires for that car. But so far on this car, I haven't really decided yet what kind of look we are going to be going for. Alright, so we've got a busted strut rod that I just took off. So let's see if there's anything lurking behind the wheel over here. Alright, well, everything looks kind of decent. It looks like this car is mostly got some bodywork we need to attend to. Alright, so we need some brake pads, which I'm actually sure we should have a better brake pad for that caliper. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop out this super thin brake pad. We'll get rid of that, and then let's just pop out this one as well. It doesn't look too bad, but let's just see if we've got any decent front brake pads over here on the shelf. There seems to be a couple of them. but I must be having a look at the right one. So that is for a pickup truck, for our pickup truck. This is for yeah, this one should fit, which looks a little bit better. And then we've got this one over here, which is also not too bad. So we could probably just take these two with us and we'll get these installed. So I think, yeah, we are going to save a little bit of money by using parts that we have laying around the shop. And also I need to clean up the shop a little bit. Alright, is this going to go into the caliper? Let me just see. Is this the correct pad? Oh, it should actually fit. Let me just see what's the story with this. Ah, there we go. It wants to go in. Alright, it's just a little bit tricky putting used pads into brake calipers, but I think that should do the job. We are in need of a brake disc, so let's just leave this off for now. And we will replace the brake disc. And also the strut rod needs to be replaced on this corner, so I'm not going to be finishing off this corner today. So I'll get a new brake disc and then also the strut rod for this corner. Then we know that corner will be sorted. So let's go ahead and continue with the back axle or the rear axle. So over here I've noticed we've got a bad leaf spring already. So let's pop this wheel off. And then, yeah, I think the simple thing to do would be to just unbolt this leaf spring. Just like this. Get the leaf spring out of here. Alright, so there's our busted leaf spring. So I'm not too sure if I have one laying around over here. Actually, I haven't noticed around the shop lately what I have and what I don't have. So these are for the pickup truck. What is this? This is a leaf spring for the pickup truck as well. Alright, so looks like we do not have a better leaf spring for that corner, but that's fine. Let's just see what else is bad on this corner. We've got, once again, a bad brake disc. We also need a whole rear axle that I just noticed, so that is something that needs to be replaced. Alright, so here's another rear brake caliper. Obviously need some pads in this thing as well. So we should have brake pads laying around that should fit in these. Because that one is looking a little bit tired, so let's just see. This one isn't too bad, so we can probably pop that back in. Yeah, that's the thing about these things. They always come out easily, but they don't go in as easily. Alright, and we are looking for a rear brake pad. That one isn't too bad. Alright, and this one is also not too bad. But I just got to make sure this is for the right car. That is actually a front brake pad. Alright, let's grab this one. Alright, let's pop this one into this caliper. Alright, and then C, we need to remove our brake disc anyway, because the brake disc is looking very thin. So let's get this removed. Alright, so far 3 out of 4 brake discs are very thin. Gonna have to replace all of those. Alright, what I want to do now is remove the hub from this, because this axle is definitely shot, but the hubs, they seem to be fine, or at least this one seems to be fine. Yeah, that's still feasible to use again. This shock absorber is, on the other hand, not so good. So I'm just going to put the parts I need to order on the table so that I can at least see what we are working towards. Alright, and then let's check our differential. We need to remove it anyway. So let's get these bolts undone. I just remembered we do actually have a brake disc in the trunk, which I nearly forgot about. So we'll have to check that one and see what that is for, if it's for the front or the back. Alright, so the differential still looks fairly decent, so we'll put this under the table for now. Alright, let's come over here. We've got our shock absorber here, which still looks decent. So, yeah, we can still reuse that. Alright, so now let's start with this corner. Got our wheel over here we can take off. Alright, so now I've noticed on this side we've got a bad hub as well. So we're going to have to order a new hub. But this brake disc on this side doesn't look too bad. This caliper, yeah, the pads still seem decent in that. So not going to bother with that then. Alright, and then let me grab the screwdriver quickly. Alright, so we're going to undo this brake disc. Alright, this brake disc is still fine, so we can reuse it. Alright, so this hub doesn't look so good, so we'll remove it with the axle. And there we go, so there's our busted axle. We do have a handbrake cable on here still, which we can take off. Handbrake cable looks like it still works. Yeah, that's practically new, so just gonna have to get a new axle and one hub for this side. Alright, let's see what else. Our leaf spring on this side doesn't look bad, but I think let's just take it off and have a nice inspection on this. Just so that we know what we need to do. Alright, I think it's worth replacing both of them, so we'll just do both of the rear leaf springs. Alright, so what we can do now is go down a bit. Just want to see what we've got in the trunk. So we do actually have 2 brake discs over here. And we've got some hubs. I believe these are the hubs for the car. So let's just see if we can save a little bit of money. Let's grab our screwdriver and then we'll also grab this brake disc. So this actually looks decent. But let's just see if this one over here is a little bit better. Yeah, that it is. It doesn't look too bad. So we can pop this on. Put that into place. And then we'll grab our front caliper over here. And we'll put that back onto the car. Alright, so then for this corner we just need a strut rod. Let me just double check everything. Yeah, that looks like it. We don't have a bad cross member. We already got our beautiful engine installed. Transmission is still good. Drive shaft's still good. So there's not a whole lot of suspension problems with this car actually. So what I'm going to do is we can basically mount the front wheels for now. The rear wheels we're not going to be mounting yet because we need to replace the whole axle. So we'll just leave them in the vicinity of the rear end of the car. Alright, and then let's pop this wheel on over here for now. And that is perfect. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is we are going to start trying to get that ramp truck, Scotia's ramp truck, into the shop, because I want to start getting into that thing and just inspecting it a little bit better. I did have a little bit of a glance under it, more or less just from what I could see in this angle, and yeah, everything is still fairly good, what I could see, but I would definitely like to take it apart a little bit. We are going to need some tires because I aired these tires up yesterday and they are flat again. So what I did is on the opposite side it was missing all the wheels, so I just mounted some wheels we had laying around the shop. So they also need a little bit of air again. Alright, so let me try and push this thing towards the lift over there. It's probably not going to be easy, but I'm going to give it my best shot and then we'll see if we can get this thing lifted up and see what's cooking under it. Alright, so that gave me a little bit of a workout. So this thing is quite heavy, especially when it doesn't have any air in the tires. But I managed to get it onto the lift, so I just want to see if we lift this thing up, if it's gonna go up, you know, without any problems. And it looks like there's not a lot of weight at the back, so this is distributed quite fairly. Alright, let's go up a little bit better. Alright. And we've got a bad frame rail, which I didn't see from the bottom of the truck when I was looking at it. So that tells me we need to replace a frame rail on this side. Radiator support also has seen better days. We do not have a radiator installed at all in this thing. So there are definitely some missing parts over here. We are missing some suspension parts at the front. We need one of these tie rods that connects the two wheels together. Steering box seems decent. The axle at the front seems decent. We need a new knuckle for there. This knuckle seems good, but we don't have any brake discs on this thing at the front. So those are missing. Alright, as for the engine, we are going to be doing a diesel swap on this engine, on this truck, in terms of engine work. Transfer case, front suspension, well, drive shafts are bad. We've got an automatic transmission in this, but we're probably going to swap it with a manual 5-speed. Same one we've got in our truck now. As for the rear, we're going to need to replace the whole axle once again. So we are missing the double wheels on this side. This side we've got the double wheels, but we are missing a tire. Yeah, the tire is shot. That is why I didn't want to take air really. The inner wheel, I don't know what's really wrong with this. I couldn't really reach the valve on this one, but we'll have to double check on that. Yeah, as far as rusty parts go, there's not really a whole lot of things going on over here. So what I can do is start stripping it, because I think if we can get the suspension on this truck sorted, then get the engine and transmission ordered up for this thing, then we can basically get this thing running and driving at least within this week. And then hopefully by the end of this week or by the weekend, we can hopefully get this thing to paint, because it'll be better for us to start getting projects in and out of the shop quicker. That way we are going to make more money, and also we're going to be able to tackle on the next job. So that is my plan for this. We want to try and do a quick fix over here and save a little bit of money as far as we can. Alright, so there's our leaf spring that still seems decent, but you might have to replace it. I actually think Scotia said that he wanted lift suspension on this thing like our truck. So he might as well go ahead and replace all of these leaf springs with the higher leaf springs we get. And then that way he'll also be able to carry a little bit more extra weight on the back of his Ram truck. Alright, so there's another bolt over here somewhere. It's just a little bit hard. I think this thing is a little bit too high, but that is fine. We'll manage. Alright, so there's our bad leaf spring, and then let's see what we need to take off for this whole axle to come out. So we'll probably have to unbolt this drive shaft over here. This is the only good drive shaft on the truck, which is also not, yeah, it's basically on its last legs. Alright, and then let's get our shock absorbers out of the way. They also look quite bad. Alright, so there's the other one. And now, if I'm not mistaken, we should be able to take this axle out by just removing these brake hoses. Let's just get these wheels removed on this side, because they are sort of blocking the view over there. Alright, so there's our one wheel with the that wheel is busted. I didn't see that from the outside, obviously. And there we go. That one is also quite beat up by the looks of it. Alright, so now we can get our rear axle removed. Alright, and we're just going to drop it down, because yeah, I don't think there's going to be any parts useful for us on this thing. Maybe the brake drums. Yeah, I don't know about that. Even the hubs, they look quite bad on this thing. Let me just have a closer look. Yeah, even that hub is busted, so that is too far gone. I'm not going to be able to use that. So yeah, I don't think there's anything useful on this axle, really. Got a brake line that is kind of useful, but even a handbrake cable is shot on this thing, so we'll just go ahead and redo the whole rear suspension for this thing. We've got a decent gas tank here by the looks of it. I'm not even sure. Okay, those are the bolts for it, obviously. Let's just see. Yeah, the gas tank might still be okay for a while. But we are going to have to replace this rear frame. Or this rear brace needs to be replaced. Alright, so there's that rusty old part. And this frame rail also can probably come off. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to take it off without stripping the whole truck bed off. So we'll just leave this frame rail for last, I think. So let's see if we can get the rest of these things loosened up. Alright, let's undo it from the transfer box. Alright, so there's that. And then let's do this front drive shaft as well. Also quite bad. And let's take off this transfer case. Alright, and then yeah, that's basically everything for now. We are going to have to rip out the engine anyway, because we are doing a diesel swap on this thing. Let's just see. Yeah, I think let's take this off quickly. Right, so there's our steering box. Yeah, it'll still work, but yeah, it's not going to be the best thing since sliced bologna, as they would say. And there goes the whole front axle. So that was just held up by that one shock absorber. Alright, so front axle itself doesn't look too bad. So let's move it over here where we've got a little space to work on. And let's get this wheel unbolted here in a second. Yeah, this wheel still seems decent. Alright, but this heavy duty hub, definitely not so good. So that is trash. Let's see what else we've got bad over here. We've got a decent caliper by the looks of it. And the hub itself is rusted, so we'll have to get a new hub for this axle. This half axle over here. Let's just see if we can get that thing out, because I want to check the condition of it. Yeah, it's basically all of these parts on this thing is kind of in the same condition, or overall in general. Let's just check on this side as well if there's anything useful. Well, this hub is shot. This front knuckle is shot. There's no brake caliper on this side. Alright, so let's get that removed and this removed. Alright, so these are all of the decent front suspension parts that we have, and as I said, the rear axle is nothing useful over there. We've got a couple of parts that I need to order now, and I could probably reuse this brake caliper. It doesn't look too bad. We might actually have some decent brake pads for that as well. So we've got a pretty decent idea of what we need for suspension. Alright, let's go down with this thing. Alright, so over here in the engine bay, I'm going to go ahead and remove the transmission and the engine. There's not really a lot of parts on this engine by the looks of it. So we'll see if we can eventually build another engine up out of all of the engines we've taken out of the vehicles recently. because I think it'll always be good to have a backup engine laying around in case something happens, or if we get a project vehicle coming in. We already have got this one running engine over here, which came out of the Firebird, so we could probably freshen this up with some parts, because I can already tell we've got a good cylinder head on this engine, which we need on that one. So that is also a water pump. That's good. We've got a decent alternator on this engine, which we can swap. Well, we could basically swap the water pump over to this one, as well as the cylinder head and the valve cover. We'll get some internal parts checked out as well. We'll swap the oil pans. We should have a decent oil pan somewhere. I see there's one over there already. So yeah, just that way we will be able to build up another decent engine, and I don't really have to do it on camera for you guys. I will probably do it off camera. Let's just do one last thing here before we are going to wrap up this episode, and that is to see if we can get this radiator support loosened up, which should be fairly easy. And we've got a bolt over there. We go. Alright, and that is our rusty radiator support with our grill. But yes, I think that is basically a wrap for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yes, until the next time, cheerio!